Imagine stepping into a time machine and landing in the 1970s, where kids roamed free without a care, smokes filled every room, and rules felt like suggestions. What if I told you that era's everyday habits could get you fined or worse today? We're diving into 25 things that blended into daily life back then, but vanished under modern laws, sparking endless debates about safety versus liberty. Some of these might shock you, others bring back fuzzy memories, but all reveal how far we've come, or maybe overstepped. Ever wonder why old photos show kids balancing on railroad ties like it was no big deal? Playing on train tracks was a rite of passage in the 70s, turning those endless rails into personal playgrounds. Children dashed across them as shortcuts, flattened pennies under oncoming locomotives, or just hung out testing their nerve. The thrill came from the rumble in the distance, but no one dwelled on the stats. Trains were slower, sure, but accidents happened quietly. Fast forward, and railway firms clamped down with trespassing bans in the 80s, driven by faster engines that sneak up silent and unstoppable. Now, it's not just risky. Fines hit thousands, and campaigns hammer home the peril. But whispers persist in rural spots where folks say the old ways built character. And that wasn't the only unchecked adventure. Hitchhiking ruled the roads, with thumbs out and strangers pulling over like clockwork. It symbolized freedom, especially for broke teens chasing festivals or jobs. Safety? An afterthought until high-profile cases in the late 70s spotlighted dangers, leading to informal bans and warnings that turned it into a relic. Reports claim isolated revivals in 2025 amid rideshare fatigue, but most view it as foolhardy. Then there's the ultimate lax setup. Kids left unsupervised for hours, exploring neighborhoods or woods without cell phones or check-ins. Parents trusted the community, but rising stranger danger fears by the 80s shifted everything, birthing helicopter parenting and laws against leaving minors alone. Rumors swirl online about pushing back for resilience building, yet the liability is too high now. But hold on, because the real hazards hid in plain sight with the toys we loved. Picture this: a simple toy that could bruise you black and blue, yet every kid begged for one. Clackers were the 70s obsession. Two hard acrylic balls on a string, swung to clash with that addictive crack. The faster you went, the wilder the rush, but lose grip and they'd smack your knuckles or face, sometimes shattering into shards that drew blood. Injury tallies mounted, prompting school bans by the decade's end, and makers switched to foam versions in the 80s. It's a stark reminder of unregulated fun. Lawn darts took backyard games to lethal levels, those heavy metal spikes hurled at rings on the grass, embedding with a satisfying thunk. But one misthrow near a sibling? Devastating. Reports of punctured skulls led to a full U.S. ban in 1988, replaced by plastic-tipped knockoffs that lack the edge. And don't forget the Easy Bake Oven, where a plain light bulb baked tiny treats, letting kids feel like mini chefs. The glow was magical, but that bulb scorched at over 350 degrees, burning fingers and worse in mishaps. By the 2000s, enclosed heaters took over after burn complaints piled up. Adding to the mix, riding shotgun in pickup truck beds was pure exhilaration, wind whipping as you cruised highways. No belts, just hanging on, until stats showed ejections and crashes, banning it in 20 states by the 90s. Speculation in 2025 forums hints at rural exemptions resurfacing, but officials shut it down fast. These weren't just playthings, they embodied an era blind to the fallout. Yet nothing captured the 70s haze quite like the smoke everywhere. Can you believe sending a kid to grab smokes was standard parenting? In the 70s, children strolled into stores with a note or none, and bought packs for adults, no questions asked. Vending machines dotted lobbies, spitting out cartons for quarters. It seemed harmless amid widespread puffing, but health awakenings in the 80s brought age checks and machine removals, turning it into a felony risk today. High schools even had dedicated smoking lounges where teens lit up between bells alongside teachers, clouds wafting through halls. By the 90s, secondhand smoke data erased them, banning all campus tobacco. TV ads glamorized it too, cowboys and celebs hawking brands as cool and essential, until 1971's federal ban shifted focus to print and events. The shift saved lives, but some argue it overreached. Airplanes were the ultimate fog fest, with ashtrays in every seat, and sections that did little to contain the drift. Passengers inhaled freely until 1988's short flight ban, expanding fully by 2000 amid passive smoking outcry. It's wild how normalized it was, but emerging studies flipped the narrative overnight, and the changes didn't stop at habits. They hit the highways hard. Buckle up, or don't if you're in the 70s, where seatbelts dangled unused, seen as nuisances that trapped you in wrecks. Back seats often lacked them entirely, kids bouncing around or perched on laps during drives. New York led the charge in 1984 with mandates, backed by an HTSA proof they slashed fatalities by 45%. By the 90s, every state followed, transforming choice into law. Child seats were equally casual. Basic boosters without crash standards, or none at all, until 1985 revelations named accidents as top kid killers, enforcing tested restraints nationwide. Drunk driving? A few beers and keys in hand was routine, with BAC limits at 0.10% or higher in spots. Awareness spiked with MAD's 1980 founding, dropping thresholds to 0.08% by the mid-80s and stiffening penalties. Airports mirrored the looseness: no scanners, open gates for goodbyes, unlocked cockpits inviting peeks, hijack surges peaking in 1972, and 9/11's horror birthed TSA in 2001, layering scans and rules that grind travel to a halt. Debates rage in 2025 on easing some for efficiency, but security trumps all. These shifts saved countless, yet spark gripes about lost ease. But laws weren't just about safety. They touched freedoms we question now. What if turning 18 meant bar access alongside voting? The 1971 amendment lowered ages across boards, letting young adults buy booze legally in many states. Road deaths soared, with alcohol in 60% of crashes, prompting 1984's federal push to 21 via highway funds. All complied by 1988. It curbed wrecks, but fuels 2025 speculation on reversals for military equity. Child labor lingered too, lax under 1938's FLSA, with kids toiling in farms or shops for character. Hazards like machinery exposure led to tighter hours and bans by the 80s, echoed in UN's 1989 Child Rights Pact. Corporal punishment in schools, paddlings for misbehavior, was routine until states phased it out post-1977 rulings, now illegal in over half amid abuse concerns. Raw milk fits here, sold fresh and unpasteurized for its pure appeal. But outbreaks of salmonella and E. coli triggered 1987's interstate ban. Some states allow farm sales today, with 2025 rumors of expanded access from health food lobbies claiming benefits outweigh risks, though experts warn otherwise. These weren't just rules, they reshaped youth entirely, and the oddities extended to what we brought home. Owning a boa constrictor or macaw without papers. Totally fine in the 70s, pet shops peddling exotics unchecked. Escapes bred invasives like Florida's pythons leading to 1980 permits and state bans by the 90s. 2025 sees stricter tracking after recent sightings. Red dye number 2 colored candies vibrant, but cancer links, debated, banned it in 1976, even halting red M&Ms till 1987. Cyclamate sweetened diets 30 times over sugar, 0 calories, until 1969 mouse studies suggested tumors, yanking it stateside, yet Canada allows it, sparking 2025 chats on U.S. overcaution. Leaded gas-powered engines smoothly, its exhaust tainting air with brain-damaging particles, phased out by 1996 after 70s evidence. Lead paint glossed homes durable, but poisoning kids via chips led to 1978's residential ban. Millions of old buildings still harbor it, demanding careful renos. Flame retardants coated pajamas and couches to slow fires, but absorption ties to hormone woes and cancer, restricting many in the 2000s. These hidden toxins lurked in basics, their bans a quiet revolution. But the list doesn't end without the everyday edibles that turned taboo. Selling raw milk straight from the cow felt wholesome, creamy and nutrient-packed, farms delivering direct. But pathogens like listeria lurked, fueling 80s warnings and FDA's pasteurization mandate. Controversial still, with 2025 buzz from wellness circles pushing for more access, reports claiming regulated raw could be safe. Candy cigarettes mimicked the real deal. White sticks with red tips puffing sugar smoke, normalizing habits amid smoky surrounds. By the 90s, designs changed or sales restricted over grooming fears. DDT sprayed fields freely against pests, but wildlife devastation, thinning eagle eggs, banned it in 1972, a win for ecology amid ongoing debates on synthetic alternatives. These weren't just products, they wove into routines, their absence highlighting progress. Looking back, the 70s pulsed with unbridled energy, but at what cost? We've unpacked 25 slices of a bygone world, from track-trekking thrills to smoke-shrouded skies, all reshaped by hard-won lessons in health and harm. It's fascinating how nostalgia clashes with today's standards. Some bands feel essential, others like overkill. What if easing a few could reclaim that spark without the peril? Ponder that as you hit like if this stirred memories or comment your own forgotten gem. Who knows, maybe tomorrow's rules will flip again.